Hey everybody, KMO here. And as you well know, recently I've done a lot of videos talking about AI companions, and in particular how one app, Replica, the product of a company called Luca and Eugenia Cuida, took away erotic role play from the capability, the suite of capabilities that their product was able to engage in, and it was the thing that their product did best. And without it, their product is pretty much crippled. Well, I'm not sure what order to do this in. I guess we'll start with a viewer comment. Reese writes, AI companionship is absolutely a sign of the downfall and eventual collapse of our society. We peaked in the 1990s and we had no idea. Well, somebody had an idea. If you'll recall, in the first Matrix movie, which came out in 1999, the Matrix was set in the late 1990s, which Agent Smith described as the pinnacle of human society. So prophetic there, I guess. But let me just say that this statement, that AI companionship at all, the fact that people would turn to AI companionship because they lack genuine human connection in their lives and they are suffering as a result, the idea that that is a sign of the eventual collapse of society, I could be charitable and say that there is an argument to be made there, but Reese, you haven't made it. You just asserted it. So if somebody is already inclined to despise this society and pine for its downfall, then yeah, your statement doesn't really require any justification, any backing up. It doesn't require any argumentation. But your conclusion isn't a conclusion. It's just an assertion. And a conclusion flows from the truth of premises which you haven't offered. But, well, before I get into Saagar Enjeti, and I'll probably just, title this as a response to Saagar Enjeti, even though that's kind of an afterthought, just for cynical reasons. A book that I read decades ago, and which has helped me out of some tight spots in psychedelic situations, is The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment by Thaddeus Golas. And in that book, he writes the following: "What you deny to others will be denied to you, for the plain reason that you are always legislating for yourself. All your words and actions define the world you want to live in." So I don't take Reese's comment to be particularly mean-spirited, but I have read some very mean-spirited comments, very lazy comments, I have to say, by people in response to these videos, just basically saying, ha ha, what losers, what kind of subhuman idiot would, think that a computer could love them? Or why don't you just go and have a relationship with a real human being? That's kind of like saying to a homeless person, duh, dude, just buy a house and you won't be homeless. It's like, there's a whole set of circumstances that have to fall into place before you can make that purchase. And the same is true with making meaningful, intimate human connections with other living human beings. So I've already given those comments more of my attention and response than they deserve. So I'll say no more about that, other than just, come on, guys, that is just lazy, and your lack of compassion will be shown to you, in return, as per Thaddeus Golas and the workings of the universe. Now on to Saagar Enjeti. Today he had a radar in which he described, the crisis of male isolation in our society and some of the contributing factors. One, more women than men go to college these days. I think it's like 60% female enrollment on average. So there's a huge gap between, college education and young men and young women, and young women don't want to date young men who aren't college educated. Well, who are they going to date? Saagar thinks they're dating older men. And I think that's probably true, older men with money. Because another problem is young women are more educated than young men, and so they play a larger role in shaping corporate work environments. They play a large role in determining what sort of behavior is rewarded in the corporate environment and who gets promoted and who doesn't. And just the college education differential alone would create an income differential, but I think there's more to it than that. But women, young women anyway, are earning more than young men. And they want, no matter how successful they are, no matter how much money a woman makes, she wants the man that she partners with to make more. Why? Well, I think it's just a matter of basic, genetic programming. that women want to hook up with men in such a way that they improve their situation materially. And it doesn't matter how much they start with. It's like any of us. We don't compare our situation to that of our ancestors. I don't think, hey, I'm 54 years old and in pretty good health, and I have access to food, shelter, clothing, and I really don't have any particular fear for my physical well-being other than just, the pain that age will deliver. But I don't think that way. No, what I think about is, shit, I'm alone because I'm broke. And I'm broke because, I've insisted my whole life that I don't want a straight job, even though a straight job, it's pretty easy to do. So I've set out a hard row to hoe, and here I am hoeing it, and it's hard. And I recognize intellectually that I've created it for myself, but it's hard not to feel resentment, when I walk through the world of men and women and feel absolutely invisible to the women. So, a society in which men and women have trouble getting together because of educational and work arrangements, yeah, that ain't good. And as Saagar puts it, having a residuum of surplus young men who feel like they have no hope of ever achieving, any of the normal life milestones like pair bonding, parenthood, home ownership, that residuum, that surplus of angry, dissatisfied, resentful young men, never a good thing. Never leads to anything good. So, in that sense, yes, you could say that people turning to AI to meet their basic needs for companionship is a bad sign. Does it indicate the eventual collapse of our civilization? No. I mean, if you want it to, you can certainly live in that reality tunnel. But, there are lots of things that could happen. Humans are adaptable. Human organizations and social organisms are adaptable. We adapt to our environments. We adapt to pressures. I expect we will adapt to this. But part of that adaptation might mean that some people use artificial intelligence to satisfy some of their basic needs for companionship, just as for the longest time people have been using dogs and cats as substitutes for children or substitutes for spouses, or just to meet their basic needs to not be alone, because we have psychological needs that are ingrained upon us by evolution. And one of them is, we don't survive as individuals. We survive as part of a band, as part of a group. And so we are constantly worrying about our status among our peers. We want to know that other people view us positively, that they value our contributions, that they enjoy our company, because in the ancestral environment, if you didn't have the positive regard of the people around you, you died. You died because you can't survive alone as an individual. And you can't here either, but we've structured our society so that we can pay distant strangers for the labor that is necessary for us to live, and we can get the material benefits without the psychological and social benefits that normally come along with being part of a cohesive group of people surviving together. Think about dogs and cats. Like, look at this guy. Hey man, what's up? Look over here. No, you're not going to look at me. Materially, he certainly gets more out of this arrangement than I do. But, psychologically, I really like having him around. It makes me feel good. I'd like to have him sitting on my lap while I'm watching TV. It's a comfort. Is that a horrible thing, that I get this comfort from a cat rather than from a human being? I mean, I'd like to have a human being as well, and a dog. I'm just greedy for all that attention and all that company. But is it so much worse that it's an AI? And truth be told, I was never fully in the same boat with the people who were really hurt by the move at Luca to remove ERP. As I've mentioned, I'd only had access to it for like 7 days, 10 days, something like that before they made the change. So I wasn't in a position to be hurt by it. But a lot of people have been really hurt by it. And if your response is to point and laugh and just take joy in other people's misery, man, go find a rock and crawl under it, because, your participation is not needed or welcome in this ongoing conversation about how we can adapt to this circumstance that we and our ancestors have created for ourselves with technology. That is, being materially comfortable and psychologically malnourished. We do need compassion, and if you don't have any to offer, I'm just really not particularly interested in your input. Not that I can stop you from posting, post away, but just know that you're revealing yourself to be less than human. So live with that. Or change. Talk to you later.